Hi, this is an old song called The Fairy Tree. It was sang by John McCormack in the 30s and by Mary O'Hara in about the 60s, 70s. I'm changing it to make it more relevant to the present day, I suppose, and leaving out a verse. From moonrise round the thorn tree, the little people play. And men and women passing, they turn their heads away. But if your heart's a child's heart, and if your eyes are clean, you'll never fear the thorn tree that grows beyond the green. All night around the thorn tree the little people play. And men and women passing, they turn their heads away. From break of dawn till moonrise, alone it stands on high, with twisted springs for branches across the winter sky. They tell you dead men hung there, its black and bitter fruit, to guard the buried treasure round which it twines its root. They'll tell you Cromwell hung them, but that could never be. He'd be in dread like others to touch the fairy tree. From moonrise round the thorn tree the little people play, and men and women passing will turn their heads away. But if your heart's a child's heart, and if your eyes are clean, you'll never fear the thorn tree that grows beyond Clogheen. In the past there was a fear of fairy trees and fairy forts, and the fairies were left alone. And the last 50 years a lot of the actual old ring forts and fairy forts have been bulldozed, and the fields have been expanded, made bigger. But in the past, certain fields would give you the best butter, for instance, and some would be the best places to grow potatoes. But now we buy our stuff from abroad, left, right, and centre, and it gets an Irish stamp if it's got 20% packaging done in Ireland. Need to go back to actually eating Irish food, and a government that will actually only stamp that it's from Ireland and made in Ireland. We have hardlies coming in from Eastern Europe, which get a stamp of guaranteed Irish, for God's sake. No, but the fairies are a caste group of people, I suppose they're symbolic of the ancestors. And these were just areas that were left alone. People wouldn't build houses on them, put roads through them. But I've seen up in Knockanya, the ring fort up there, fairy fort, someone has actually driven a tractor through it. Hills out in the countryside in Clare, which the forestry wouldn't touch because of the actual fairy forts being sold off to people with horses, and they've actually ran steeplechase areas up through the edge of it, ripped out ring forts. I've seen the tops of ancient tombs, passage tombs, in the Broadford area being ripped off because people were looking for treasure. And there's actually places up the actual Shale Quarry Road, which the actual oh, it's the road works place there, where they dig out all the stone for the roads. And there are actually ancient sites up there, which will most likely be dug out and ripped away As you look at the hillside from Limerick, you can see the trees in that section, but when you go up there, you actually see there's a 40 to 50 foot drop on the opposite side of those trees, where there was once hillside and ancient forts and ancient pieces. So that's the fairy tree anyway, and I wish they'd just leave them alone. Leave our culture and our history in one piece. And take it easy and have a good Samhain.